Get the latest updates and breaking news across the region by following KUAM CNMI on Instagram. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglona brings what you need to know from the Northern Marianas at the palm of your hand. Full stories, daily updates, and snapshots of the beauty across the Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI now.
It's a tradition that began almost 70 years ago. A trusted legacy, a voice, an advocate, a resource for news you need to know.
Through the years, the headlines have changed, as many of those who have graced the screens, sat behind and in front of the cameras, and come into your homes every night.
But our commitment to keeping you informed, engaged, and to represent the diverse voices in our community has never wavered.
We are your news leader on every platform and every device. We've grown with the community to reflect the changing times.
We are KUAM News, the voice of the Marianas.
I think we're just going to start our press conference for this morning. I just want to thank you all, media, for being here. I know how hungry the people wanting to know about the transition. And you see, the delay usually happen because of the non-certifications of the election result. But hopefully by this week, I don't know, the election result will be certified. That's kind of hampering our movement. We cannot move because of the legal aspect of the transition. So anyways, we've been doing all the legworks required to move as soon as the certification is completed. First, I just want to thank the governor-elect and Lieutenant Governor-elect Arno and Dave for the confidence they placed on me and Clyde and Obi to run this transition team. I don't know with the professional help that we have, with the limited time that we have from now to inauguration. It's going to be really hard work ahead of us. But with all the professional people that we have with us, I think the timeline will be met. And again, since this election, this is the first time that an independent win. I mean, knowing that even in the States, the House and Senate and the executive branch, I think it shows how educated our people are, our voters. That when they see something wrong, well, there's a ballot box that would dictate that. So this is what happened on this last election. And I appreciate the governor giving us all the trust and the confidence to lead this transition. And we're glad to answer any question from you guys.
And just first, is there an official list or members of the transition team that the public is going to be able to see officially coming out from this team?
Good morning. Yes, Tomas. As you probably saw the variety, it's got an older list. Now, eventually, because of all the delays with the CEC and the absentee, we suspected that list is going to leak out. But right after this press conference, I'm going to WhatsApp all of you the list as of this morning, and the final list of all the team leaders and their respective teams that will be doing the transition for each respective department that they're assigned to.
And
Yes.
can you tell us how were they selected and what does the work look like moving ahead? Because I think unofficially things can't really happen until the certification, right?
Yes. So originally the timeline set by Arno and Dave, based on the runoff date. That timeline is, and for the delay again that we're getting now, it just makes our time constrained. So we have this morning we're meeting also after this to start to adjust the timeline. But originally in the timeline for the transition team, their draft report must be in by December 16, and their final report must be in by December 20, so that Arnold and Dave can have a snapshot of what they're expecting coming in their administration from each respective department. As for the persons that are leading the teams, most of the individuals either have worked or led that agency or part of the commission of that agency, autonomous agency. You will see the names as I send up to you all after this press conference. We then give them a lot of discretion in going out there and recruiting people for their team to help them facilitate and accelerate the transition because of what's happening now. So the biggest question since yesterday before the team members or the team leaders is, it looks like our timeline is going to be affected. Yes, and we are aware of that, and hopefully we can stay within the timeline. But hopefully after this meeting we will adjust that timeline.
Let me just, I don't know, Clyde is responsible. There's two components on this transition. One is the inauguration and the other one is the department agency where, we're going to be going out and, it's like auditing and researching all information on every department. So Clyde is going to be responsible for that, and OB is going to be responsible for inauguration.
And are these transition leaders also tasked with looking for potential new leadership of the departments that they're looking at?
No, our instruction is very specific that they don't recommend. However, again, with that meeting today is that we will push out announcements to irrespective for people who are interested to submit their resume. But the final decision of this is Arnold and the governor-elect and the lieutenant governor-elect.
And just my last question before passing it on, for the inauguration committee, what type of budget are you working with? Where does that come from? What are the nuts and bolts of planning the inauguration?
Well, traditionally, as in the past, most inauguration activities is so-called government-funded activities per se. So initially, we are being informed by our governor-elect and lieutenant governor-elect that the current Governor Torres was able and committed himself to assist in the way possible as far as Costa is concerned. We're looking at probably about 200. We have already prepared a budget for that, and our chairman John Reyes will be presenting that to the Governor Torres in line with the inaugural and transitional expenses. But a chunk of it would mostly come from the inauguration side of these activities that's going on. So we're looking at about 200 to 240,000 for this, and hoping, crossing my fingers, corporate people start, showing humility in terms of following up what can they do to facilitate and help the inauguration becoming a success event for the people of the community. And we welcome those gestures. Yes, Fred.
Joseph also.
I understand that the proposed inauguration site is in front of the multi-purpose center, and why you have chosen that as a proposed site?
Yes, definitely that is the selected facility site for selected by the governor-elect and the governor-elect. They're very adamant about having it on this center to the island populated areas. So we're doing our best, how best to facilitate that and take extra cautionary measure in terms of traffic, security, and the likes. Because as we all know, traditionally, most of some of the visitors will be coming from the region, even foreign countries, and to the extent all the way to the federal government level.
There are parking curbs in that area, so you guys will cover it?
Yes, we have studied the site, myself and Clyde, and that of our chairman here, and it's feasible to facilitate traffic flow.
And who will administer the oath?
We're not too sure yet, but the traditional practice is we normally engage our CJ, our Supreme Court Chief Justice, hoping that he's available on that day to administer the oath of office for both of them.
How about during the eve?
The what?
The eve of the November 8th?
Well, yes, we will be having what we call it a soft swearing-in ceremony, and that is 11:59 struck midnight. As soon as the clock hits 12, we intend to have our governor-elect and the governor-elect sworn. The site for that private ceremony is yet to be confirmed by the governor himself.
Freddie, just to clarify, we've sent a letter to the Chief Justice,
Right.
requesting for his presence for the swearing-in on both occasions. So we're just waiting for that response now. But he has to be protocol, the Chief Justice.
Right, the Chief Justice always will.
Oh, I have a question about the transition. So earlier you mentioned that the team leaders were recruited. In the beginning of everything, I understand that there was going to be an application phase. Is that just going to be for the cabinet members or just for the...
What do you mean by application phase?
Or like the selected members would be going through an application. That was... Okay.
The team leaders are just, I think, assigned the department to transition, to go in and provide that information to the governor-elect and lieutenant governor-elect.
On the selections of the transition team, we make sure that those people that are selected, are professional people that kind of know the department and the agency that they will be in, and we have some protocol on how to do all those things. So I hope that those people selected are there to help. And they're not there to abuse or misuse or whatever. So, those selected are professional people. And, it's, I think you're talking about employment, application for employment. While we're not there yet, Arno and Dave is not ready to accept any application at this time. Hopefully by, the transition almost finished, that's the time we're going to be accepting application. But all reviews will be given to the two.
And to clarify again, the transition team's job is to give a picture of the department's condition prior to taking the inauguration. The transition job is not to look for candidates or possible candidates of cabinets.
And make recommendations.
Yeah, well, when our team comes into a department, they want to make sure that they go over the department's goals and objectives, and what's been accomplished and what are the challenges facing the department, and what are the goals. Recommendations that the transition will give to government. And hopefully, those recommendations will be based on the platform too of, the AD, Harman Day. Because whatever we do, we make sure that it's kind of with the transition team.
So again, to further elaborate, It's our platform, the AD Honor and Dave platform, and also keeping in mind about the pledge between Tina and Leila. So those two working documents are what we set in front of us.
Any more question? Based on my observation in the past transition teams, the one chosen as the person in charge of a certain department is the one chosen as the director or secretary. Are you going to follow the same process?
You know, one of the things that we made sure is that, and the question we asked of the team leaders is that, you know, we want to make sure that you have no interest in that department, and that's the critical part. Because if you have an interest in that department, then you shouldn't be leading that transition team. We don't want it to be looked at, observed as a self-serving in your report. And again, we integrated our transition team with recommendations from Tina and Leila, and their members to be part of the transition team. So when you see the list, you're going to see that some of the major departments are led by recommendation from Tina and Leila.
Can anyone comment on just the process with the CEC? We still don't know when they're going to certify. Can we just get an official comment from the committees on the process that CEC is undergoing?
What's that?
Well,
CEC.
the last I heard about it, and hopefully there'll be the latest news that I got from somebody. Hopefully today that should happen. Legally, in terms of the numbers that already appear, I can safely say that the numbers have spoken. Certification is part of the requirement of that particular provision of law that requires candidates to be certified once the tabulation is done. But I am convinced more than ever, that the numbers itself speaks louder than the certification. So we're able to move forward, Tomas, because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I don't think that numbers would ever change. So certification is a must. Thus, do we have aired out our concern with the Election Commission Chair, Mr. Sablon, to relay to his members that we are very much concerned on the ability of this inaugural and transition committee to move forward expediently and efficiently, as time is of essence to all of us, and including our people wanted to see a new government established in January. So we can also avail of that by doing our work, part of our work in terms of transition and inauguration moving forward.
So, and there's, there's no reason to delay because, at present time there's 1,000 some difference, and the challenge is only 200 some. So even though you give it to the other side of the 200, it's not going to change the result. So I believe that, it's time that we just move forward. I mean, the government should operate smoothly from now. Thank you.
So Tomas, just to clarify, the law is specific. Upon certification is the language, right? So that's fine. And then we're going to, we have to stick by the law. But however, in our initiative to ensure that our people, both the transition and inauguration team, are hitting the ground running on this, we've already met with all the transition team chairs. We've passed out all the regulations, the laws, the templates for the reporting requirement. We've sat down with them and talked about it, answered their question, whatever curiosity they got about how to do a report. So we've done all of that, all the background check, and we've issued ID cards already for them. So somehow, somewhere, if the certification is done by 3:30 today, and then we're going to start working at 3:31. That's what it is. So our people or our transition teams are ready to go. They'll start reaching out to the department heads to initiate the first contact, and that's only after the certification is done.
And we have letters already going out to every department, agency of the government requesting for their participation. So I will give you guys the copy. And also the appointment by the governor to me as chairman. I have the copy too. So.
And who are the main liaisons for under Governor Torres? Who are you working with directly for the transition on their side to help you guys? Are there main people on the governor's side to work with?
From the administration side,
yes.
current administration, yes, definitely the letter would speak for itself. By our chairman will be requesting the governor to, informing him that our transition and opposition committee is moving forward, and we ask for your, unconditional assistance. Where some of the team members from the two main committees, the Inauguration and Transition, will be contacting respective department heads to facilitate the movement of transition in itself, and also provide for assistance, manpower assistance in generating all these events moving forward. As we all know, it's a humongous task for the three of us, and we wanted to see as much support, both from the private sector and the public sector.
So Freddie, you said traditionally the governor, outgoing governor, would designate a special assistant to the administration, and that would be Keiko Rizal, who would be working with the overall chairman, John Redis, on all of transition and inauguration issues until January 9th for the designated date.
Okay, doke.
Just clarification. When is your target date to start sending invitation to all island guests?
This week. We intend to disseminate those digitized first, followed by the hard copy of the official invitation. So the digital invitation will be coming out this week. Hopefully we have finalized it today and approve it at 4 o'clock this evening, the format of how it's planned to approve it.
And we are anticipating that all reports should be submitted to the chairman by December 19th, 16th.
When draft.
Yeah, the draft report. So by the 21st, the governors can be getting all the reports.
So because of, again, the time restraint, the use of technology is easier for the inauguration. So electronic copy of the invitation is heading out to all island dignitaries and so forth. And then the document invitation will be mailed out to them, but at least it gives them time to receive the electronic copy and make appropriate travel arrangements and so forth for the inauguration. Because if we're going to follow the way the absentee were mailed out, and we're going to have our inauguration on January 30th.
That would bring a lot of anxiety to the three of us.
Yeah, our only hope is that we want a smooth transition of government. That's what we want. So I think it's going to happen. I mean, Ralph is really cooperating with the governor. Arnold's talking to the governor. So I don't see any problem.
So Brad, as you know, is our point of contact for media relations. So in case interview during this time, once it's set for transition, you want to follow our transition team around for a specific department, just work with, contact Brad. I think he's coming in today. Just work with him, and then he'll reach out to the respective team members, our agency.
Media publishers.
And then, work them out, schedule, and having you tag along.
Right. Well, if anything, if I may add further from the point of view of Arnold and Dave Executive Committee, as chairman of the campaign chairman of Arnold and Dave, I wish to reiterate again the announcement of our governor-elect and lieutenant governor plea to the people of the Commonwealth in general. I share his message again to our people, and it is time to heal. As he eloquently stated in the paper this morning, we all wanted to invite our people to participate in this democratic process of moving our CNMI forward and meeting the needs of our basic needs, primarily basic needs of our people, whose lives, some of them are affected, still affected from the previous disasters and everything that goes on in the Commonwealth. So I join our Governor Lake and the Governor Lake, also inviting our people to stand behind our new administration, and we continue to heal and improve our Commonwealth, enhance our economic growth so that we can better help in many ways our general population in the CNMI. So with that, I thank our people for being patient this past 14 months during the campaign trial, and we thank all the people that have rallied behind this election. Although, as we all know, in contests like this, only one should survive. So it's just a miracle numbers that dictates that. So we thank Commonwealth people for a continuous support in this endeavor, regardless of from the right wing, the left wing. We all welcome all of them, and we embrace their contribution to this cause. Thank you very much on behalf of Arnold and Dave and their respective family members.
Thank you.
Good morning to everyone.
Get the latest updates and breaking news across the region by following KUAM CNMI on Instagram. Regional correspondent Tomas Manglona brings what you need to know from the Northern Marianas at the palm of your hand. Full stories, daily updates, and snapshots of the beauty across the Marianas. Follow KUAM CNMI now.